University, and I wanted to thank you all for joining us this evening for our second online event, Career Development and Networking during COVID-19. We understand that it's a very unique time, but some things still go on, like the need for job searching, finding the right candidate, and now's the perfect time to start growing your professional network because I think a lot of us are spending a lot of time in front of our computers and searching out some human interaction. So just a few notes for this evening. We will be taking questions as we go, so please make sure to use that Q&A feature so you can ask any questions of our wonderful speaker, Sarah Todd. And also we are recording this evening's event, so it will be available on YouTube for everyone to watch afterwards to share with any alumni or friends who are not able to make it this evening. And then for anyone you think of that might, be interested. So I guess without further ado, we'll get started and I will turn it over to Sarah Todd, our wonderful director at the Center for Career Development. I did not have any coffee today, so I think that explains it. So Sarah, thank you so much for joining us and for leading this webinar. I know you're very busy and we really appreciate you taking the time to do this for us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me, Tim and Rebecca, and welcome to our guests. I'm assuming that there's probably a mix of current students and alums in the, going on in our watching audience right now. So I was trying to think about how we can kind of address needs of a lot of different types of people right now. I think when you talk about career development, the thing that's kind of interesting about it when you compare it to other areas within student development, this is a piece that never ends. So whether you are graduating in May, whether you are consistently going to be reinventing and evolving as a professional. And that's, I think, one reason why that the way that we approach career development at Eastern is for it to be an educational experience. My master's is actually in education, and that's one of the reasons why that we try to approach all of our conversations from the perspective of how can I teach you so that next time you can do this on your own. So that's kind of the way that I want to work tonight. I was really interested, I thought about starting off with, am I going to do some type of a PowerPoint? And I'm like, nah, we're just going to jump right in. And we're going to, what I'm hoping to do tonight is kind of take you on an overview of a few tools that I think will be helpful for you as you are, maybe right now you're just trying to get your feet wet, and maybe you're just doing some overall research. Maybe you're someone who is really anxious about what's next. Maybe you're someone who isn't even graduating quite yet. Maybe you have a little bit more time to go. If that's the case, you've got a little more space to do some of the research before you jump out past Eastern. I think one thing that I will say that is true and is a reason why that I'm always happy to get connected with alumni is because our alumni community is absolutely phenomenal. And one of the things I'm going to be showing you are some ways that you can stay in touch and grow your network among alums, because I do think that one of our most untapped resources for current students and recent grads is getting in touch with some of our alums that have been out for a little bit longer. I also want to say that there is a Q&A a box that's available. So if you do have questions, I'll be happy to try to take them as we go along. Where I want to start us off is the magical careers website. It's very funny because I have a couple of student workers and I asked them one time, I said, oh, can you just go on our website and go grab this? And they're like, we have a website? Yes, we do. We have a website. Also, it's hilarious to do Zoom. I've been teaching now on Zoom for about, gosh, I guess 6 or 7 weeks now. And it is still a weird thing to not have people laugh at your jokes, I have to say. I do feel a little bit like I'm acting like in Star Wars with a green screen and like there's like a tennis ball here and I'm interacting with it. But I know that you're out there.
I can always unmute and laugh for you because I did laugh.
Nice. Oh my gosh. So if you're looking on the Center for Career Development website, obviously there's different pieces for current students, employers. And for some of you tonight, I am really hoping, very, very much hoping that some of you are employers and that you're interested in posting opportunities. So internships, jobs, we love when alumni are interested in doing that. That makes us extremely happy. So that's another piece that we can consider tonight as well. So there's an alumni page here that shows the different ways we serve alums. Where I really wanted to begin though is Handshake. The reason for this is that Handshake is being utilized by about 700 schools across the country. It is the premier space for internships and job seekers. So when you log into this magical site, you will not see, oh, there we go, it's perfect. You'll see it just like this, because this is the student facing or the alumni facing side of it. So Handshake is a internship and a job board. But it's more than that. It's a great research tool. And I am really hopeful that this will become a big, just a great place for you to do some of your research as you are looking for opportunities. Something that has been really helpful with Handshake, because they are an online platform, their whole creation came out from a couple students in Michigan. They didn't go to a big school. They went to a smaller school, and they found it was really unfair that all of the big companies were only going to the big universities in Michigan. And they thought, you know what, we can do engineering just as well as the students at the big schools. Why aren't we getting noticed? So they built this platform for the very purpose of making sure that there was a democracy to opportunity. And that's a reason why I personally love it, because it was made for schools just like us, which are amazing schools that don't always get the same level of attention as schools that are, you know, have been around for a couple hundred years. So the place where you want to begin with Handshake, first of all, you want to treat this a little bit like Spotify, Pandora, whatever your pleasure. You want to start off, when you jump in with it, you want to go right to the career interests. You want to tell the system what it is that you're looking for, because the whole platform will build around you. The algorithm is created by what you tell it that you want. So you can go in and tell it that you're looking for a job. You can go in and tell it that you want to work. You can talk about roles that you're interested in. You can talk about industries that interest you. When you're done with all your clicks, you can save your interests. And now when I go back to the main page, it's actually going to show me opportunities that are based around what I said that I wanted. And that's, I think, one of the most beautiful pieces about Handshake, is that it's trying to take some of the guesswork out of this process. So if you're going into the system, another thing that you're going to want to think about is your profile. The reason why that keeping a profile on the site is really helpful is because right now employers are utilizing Handshake to find prospective employees, and they are using the profile's information to help shunt the right people to them. So with that in mind, building the profile on Handshake takes very little time, because as you see this little magical button, upload a resume, if your resume is in good shape, which hopefully it is, you can click the button and it will populate the whole page for you. You don't even have to retype things. As you'll see, you can incorporate similar things to the things you would find on LinkedIn, a summary about you, your educational experience, your work and your volunteer experience. You can also obviously upload your resume. You can even include courses you've taken, projects that you've taken on, you know, incorporating video, audio, podcasts, whatever it is that you've been working on. And what's really helpful too is that you can see what employers see. So if you're concerned about what might be visible, you have control over your settings. A lot of students will get nervous because when they first come in, sometimes they can see their GPA. And that can be a little bit intimidating. And I will tell you that unless you want your GPA to be seen, it will not be shown to employers. So again, the system is built around giving you the maximum amount of exposure without compromising you know, information about yourself that you may not want to put out into the world. So once—
Sarah, real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we had a question. Is there a special way to register for the first time for Handshake when you're entering it from Eastern's website?
If you are a current student, you will log in with your login and your password. If you are someone who is a graduate, then you have to create an account, and you want to be sure that you are on Eastern's Handshake page, not the main Join Handshake page. So make sure that you're on the Eastern one, and then you can put it, you can just request for an account. And then once you do that, we can approve you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So again, some things you may want to be thinking about is like, if you are currently looking for a job, you can say yes, and then it will actually indicate that in the system on your handshake that you are looking for, you're looking for opportunities. You do not have to do the profile. I just would recommend it because it's a way for you to build a little bit more of your branding and get a little more foothold in just in terms of being noticed. Now, I would say, obviously, one of the big aspects of using any job board is using it to find opportunities. So what you can do is that, choosing your area, of course. So let's just say Philadelphia, just for ease of use right now. You can choose how far away you want to be from Philly. And you also can choose based on big titles. You can go on employer opportunities if you want to. You can say specifically if you want full-time or part-time. There's more filters that you can add where, especially if you're somebody who's looking for an internship, say, maybe you can only really do a paid role right now, then that would be appropriate. Maybe you're looking for a work study job on campus next semester. You would click the work study opportunity. So if you're an international student, you might be looking for people that would work with work authorization. So again, there's a lot of ways you can tweak this to fit you, or you could put in your major and see if that brings up any opportunities. So if we go into just a typical full-time job search, let's just say that we want to go, let's see if we just do marketing just for keep things simple. So if we go and we look at marketing, they're going to be bringing up all the open positions that are operating right now. So these are coming up. You can order them by relevance. You can do them by expiration date. That's really helpful if you're trying to make sure that you're getting in before the close of a job. You can also do it by date posted. So if you want to go to the newest ones. Also notice this lovely little button here that says save your search. This will make it so that you don't have to remember the next time you come in. It will actually just hold on to that search for you. Another aspect that I really love about Handshake is that, let's say that you were trying to, let's say that you saw an opportunity and you were really interested. So here's this one with LMI Philadelphia. And let's say that maybe you're on the go. Maybe you are trying to wrangle small people or small animals or whatever it is that you're trying to wrangle right now. And maybe you're on the app, maybe you're on the Handshake app, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. It works just seamlessly with the desktop. You can just put a star next to it. Guess what? I walked away. When I come back, it's still going to be starred. The best part is that the Handshake system is going to email me to remind me that I liked that opportunity. And it's going to make it so that I will be it's sort of like a little nudge. I like to think about it as like the way that your best friend will call you up and be like, did you do the thing you said you were going to do? That's what this does for you. Now, maybe this opportunity is not the one that I'm really excited about. Maybe I'm thinking about, let's see, like maybe I'm interested in looking for something with an organization. And I am hoping that I can find a different type of job. So maybe I go to this opportunity, but I'm like, no, I want to know, I like that idea, but I want to see if they have anything else for me. When I click on that, it's going to take me to the actual employer. And from there, I can follow them, which then means anytime an opportunity comes up, I will get an alert. Again, the system is built so that you don't have to babysit your searches or your connections. Now, a lot of folks are also interested in going after opportunities where they might say, okay, well, where do Eastern alums go? I'd love to know about companies where Eastern alums might be. So the system, let's see if we have a lot of students that work for Vanguard, the employer. What's really cool about this is that the system will actually tell us students who've worked here. So if you're interested in getting connected with students in the past who have worked for that organization, you can see that. You can also see here that people who have interviewed with them before can put in questions and answers. So what's it like to interview with them? What's it like to work for them? You can see reviews that have been written by folks, more information about interview information, jobs that are currently posted are here. So I really like that aspect as well, that you can have that peer-to-peer conversation. And I think that especially right now, building those connections. And as you can see from here, the students that were, let's go back to the main page. You can see the students who've worked there. If you click on See All, you can see some of them could be Eastern students, but some could be from other universities. So it's kind of a cool way to build that sort of cross-pollination between schools, which I also think is really helpful too.
Sarah, we had another question come
Sure.
in
Yeah.
from one of our graduating seniors. So first,
Sure.
I want to say congratulations, Annabelle.
Yes.
So Annabelle did ask if she already created a Handshake account as a current student and they're graduating in May. Can she still use the same login credentials after she graduates?
Yes, she can. Because she's already made the account, so it'll just roll over for her. And your account works forever. So if you're a current student, you graduate, it's good to go for you at any point after graduation. So this system is all available to you as an Eastern student and as an alum too. So I'm a big fan of how this works. And also there's aspects here, Q&A. So let's say that maybe you're changing industries, or maybe right now you're kind of thinking, gosh, I would love to see if there's a way that I could transition my skills from doing A to doing B. You can go into the system and ask questions about what it's like to work in different industries. There are thousands of questions in here, and they've been answered by, in some cases, by young professionals, in some cases by professors, in some cases by hiring managers. So it's a really very cool tool where you can actually put your questions out there into the world and get answers to them. Also, you can look up, if you're a current student or if you're graduating, you can see, if you only want to see Eastern University students, you can click here and you can see, here are students graduating from Eastern, and you can filter to see if you can find other people in your major. So you might be able to connect with them, maybe see where another fellow student did an internship or had an experience, or even just to build your own camaraderie within your program. So it's another kind of nice feature of the way that Handshake works. I think one of the most important things with Handshake, obviously, use the tools of remembering your searches, starring the different companies that you want to follow. The other thing is make sure, of course, that you have filled out your profile, and if you have a resume that you are comfortable with posting at that point, you can post it on the site. It would only be shared with an employer if you wanted it to be. So you do have control over what gets seen that way. What other kinds of questions can I answer about Handshake? Anyone have anything? Let me see. Something's coming up in, no, it's not letting me see the Q&A. Can you read it off for me, Rebecca? Because unfortunately I can't see the Q&A from
I can, yep, no problem. So someone did ask, what are some of the similarities and differences between the jobs that show up on Handshake and Save Searches compared to LinkedIn, Glassdoor, or Indeed?
Oh, what a great question. So Handshake, the thing about them is that any organization that contacts my office, so if you contact the Center for Career Development, or if you contact any office at Eastern, they are going to be sent to Handshake. So not only are you going to get organizations that are looking for Eastern folks, you're also going to be getting, the reason why Handshake is such a beloved platform for colleges and universities, because back in the day, you had to approve every single school where you wanted to post a job, and it was painful. Now, a company can post and it will go out to all Handshake schools, which means that Eastern students are getting access to the same types of jobs that are being posted at Temple and Penn and elsewhere. So it's really changed the way that our students are able to, and alums are able to connect. What I will say is that there may be opportunities that are posted through Handshake that would not necessarily be posted through Indeed or some other boards. I will say that there are predominantly, you'll find more opportunities for emerging professionals on Handshake than you will on some of the other forums, because Handshake as a platform was built around people who were about to graduate. That doesn't mean that you won't find great opportunities for folks that have been out a little bit longer, but it is definitely one of the richest sources for people who are graduating with a degree and they're moving on, just by the nature of how it works. I would say with Handshake that it is a great tool to have in your toolkit. Is it the only thing you should have in your toolkit? Absolutely not. There will always be opportunities that are only going to be posted with employers. For example, a lot of our nursing majors, if they're going on to look for nursing positions, they're not being posted on Handshake because frankly, the hospitals have enough to do right now, and they're just going to have the jobs posted within their own systems. And that's fine. So just being aware of your own industry. Some industries prefer certain platforms over others. I would say always use Handshake as a touchstone, but recognize that all the other websites that you mentioned are always good places to have on your radar as well. Because really, when you are a job seeker, having sort of your, a lot of different buckets to be drawing from is generally a best practice, so you can get the maximum amount of potential opportunities. One thing I will say about Handshake is that employers have to go through a not insignificant process to be approved on the site. Does that mean that we are saying all Handshake employers are appropriate? I will say that no one can guarantee that. What I can say is that they do go through a higher level of more rigorous examination to make sure that they're legitimate, to make sure that they are what they're saying that they're offering is really what they're offering. So that is not always going to be the case on every other job site. So again, Handshake builds in protections that were built around the population that it was designed ostensibly to serve, which would be university settings. So that's one more thing to keep in mind, that you may find on some of the other sites that things that we wouldn't post necessarily might show up on some of those other ones, if that makes sense. All right, so Handshake is a pretty easy site to get used to. There are some really great supports. If you're sort of not sure or you have questions, you can always go to the help page, and there are tons of questions here that you can get started with. There's a lot of supports that are built in, so I think that that's always a really nice aspect. Excuse me, your documents can be here. Current applications are here. It's just a really super easy system. Keep in mind, we approve jobs pretty much, we approve them Monday through Friday. So we are always adding new companies, and we're always adding new opportunities. So every day that you look, there could be something new. Something I wanted to point out is that there is a blog operating right now for Handshake, and what I will do is at the end, I can throw this into the chat for you. This is a great place. If your internship got canceled, what do you do now? How to wow recruiters that are messaging you. Free services and resources to help you right now. Career advice from students. There's a lot of virtual resources that they're doing. And another piece that you may want to do as you're doing your searches is you can actually put in the word remote. And see what that brings up. Obviously, location will not necessarily be the most important thing for that because you don't have to physically be there. So I will notice there's a lot more remote opportunities that are popping up now. So if I were job searching right now, that would be a search term I would absolutely be looking at. All right. So we spent a little bit of time on Handshake. If you have more questions, just let me know. We can come back to that. Something else that I wanted to mention briefly, as people are trying to think through, how do I build my network when I'm literally in my room for 18 hours a day? It's still possible, even though it is definitely more challenging. Something that I would recommend, if you have not done this already, whatever industry that you're hoping to get into, guaranteed is going to have some type of a professional association. And I find that a lot of young professionals, or even folks that have been around for a while, or if you're switching from one field to another, you might not know this. We have a really helpful website that's called What Can I Do With This Major? And this is built by the University of Tennessee, God bless them. So they actually, they help maintain this. And what is really great about it is that you can go in and you can find out different types of opportunities. So in fact, I am going to move this down a little bit. There we I want to pick on social science because we have a lot of students that graduate looking to go into the nonprofit world or to work on behalf of others, because that's what faith, reason, and justice will do. So to that end, let's say that you were somebody who was graduating with a degree in sociology, and you're like, okay, what do I do now? So what I love about this site is that it gives you all different areas where people tend to find work. So from there, it will tell you all different aspects, types of employers that you may want to be looking at, strategies that you may want to take advantage of. And as you go through this, you're also going to find that as you approach the bottom of the page, that they are going to provide you with not only different types of professional associations, also occupational outlooks, what areas of the country are more likely to be hiring, different resources for your major, and then also particular types of employment opportunities that might be helpful to you. So I always like to recommend this, again, because professional associations right now, often if you are a recent grad or if you are someone who is trying to break into a different industry, the professional associations can be amazing sources of connection. Right now, for example, I'm relying on mine for daily information about how to best serve our students, about how to keep track of what employers are doing, best practices. So I would say professional associations right now are one of the most useful, and I'd say a very underutilized tool for networking. So be sure to check those out. Some of them have actually reduced their costs for joining them right now because of the current situation. Or if you're even a recent grad, sometimes you can join for a very nominal fee or no fee at all. So look at those. But again, check out the resources, look at the general information. There's so much. This site is a gold mine. So be sure to take advantage of that. Even if you're someone who's been graduated for a while, I promise you, there could be something on here that you might not have considered, especially if you haven't been on the job market for a while. So again, that's what to do with this major. And you can find that right on our site. If you try to link to it outside of our site, you're not going to get all the goodies because we actually subscribe to it. So be sure to go through the website. All right, let's see. So going over, what I want to spend a little bit of time on right now is how to think about networking from the perspective of LinkedIn. I find that a lot of our students, whether they are undergrads or grad students, are often underutilizing LinkedIn and in fact don't use it. They use it for the ways in which it's intended, which of course is to have your profile and share your information. But they're not always thinking about how they can partner different sites together. So for example, if I'm on Handshake and I am looking up here that there is, so for example, right now, we have one of our alums, actually, Paul Daigle, who's running for Congress. And if I wanted to know more about Paul Daigle, I could hop right over to LinkedIn. I could find him and find out more information about him. But if we're looking at companies, though, if let's say that we're looking at Keller Williams Realty, because that's just the first thing that popped up here. So if I look up Keller Williams Realty, what's cool is that if I want to find out how many, so this is going to show me right here, because I'm connected to Eastern, it's going to tell me what connections I have who already work here. If they're Eastern alums, it will also come up in here too. A way that you can get specifically to the Eastern alumni set, this is my favorite little trick when you're working with LinkedIn. Go to the Eastern site, go to the alumni tab. And what that's going to let you do is find all of our alums in one place. And it breaks down beautifully where they work. It breaks down what they graduated with. It breaks down and also by majors. So let's say that you studied psychology and you want to know what they're up to. Here are the top places where people are employed who have a degree in psychology. But let's say that maybe you don't live in Philly. Maybe you live in New York. No problem. You can see the top places where people are working in New York. This is amazing in my mind. And I really would encourage you as an alum to use this tool, or as a recent grad, to use this tool What is really wonderful is that from here, you can scroll down and you can see folks. So I'll pick on Megan because she graduated recently from our master's program. She actually interned for me briefly during her last semester. And so if I wanted to see her, I could bring her up. I could find out information about her. I could see what she's doing right now. And if you click on contact information, oftentimes you'll see that people have posted their email address, or at the very least, you can use the system to message them. Generally speaking, most of our alums are very willing to connect with you or have a conversation with you. So that's something I would absolutely recommend. Did a question just pop up, Rebecca?
Sorry, I was muted and I couldn't unmute my phone.
No worries,
Yes,
no worries.
we did. So it said, how do you clarify in your profile that you are an alumni?
Oh, all you have to do is just tell it that's where you graduated from. Once you do that, it'll automatically populate you into the Eastern University collection of alums. So as long as you have it listed with when you, so if you pull, I'll just pull me up. So if you pull me up and you scroll down and you click on Eastern, you can see that I put down as my education, I say when I graduated, and then I will automatically be part of that alumni group. So any schools that you went to you would be part of that alumni population. Aside from that, of course, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was just going to do a little plug. We'll mention it later,
Yeah,
but there's also a Eastern University alumni group on LinkedIn. So if we have alumni on and also seniors that are getting ready to graduate, please make sure to join that group. And I think that'll be a great place for people that even are a little bit further out to kind of discuss, what they're going through right now, and a great place for everyone to chat and network.
I'll tell you that I actually had a situation very recently. I was in teaching today, and one of my students we had a conversation. Oh, there's the Eastern Alumni Group right there. But if you put in the Eastern University School, that'll bring up all of the alums. And one thing that I thought was interesting is a student contacted me and said, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do after graduation, and I don't really know. And I was thinking to myself that there was an alum that had graduated a few years back. I sent her LinkedIn profile. I said, reach out to her, connect with her and see if you can have a conversation. And they've already had a conversation. She actually pointed out a potential opportunity for the student to apply for. Like, being connected with our alumni community is really, really huge. And I wish that more students were aware of how easily you can find people who are in the field where you want to be. Let's just say, for example, that you are really interested, maybe you're in the Lancaster area, and maybe you really want to work in the area of, you'd like to do something faith-based, but maybe something with some business connections. So let's just say if we picked Hope International. If you put that in, it's going to bring up any alums that have any connection with Hope International. Now, I will tell you that sometimes, in this case, you might need to actually put quotes around it to bring up, oh, maybe not. Oh, hold on. Let me make sure that this is done properly. Okay, that's more like it. I was going to say, I don't think 200 people work there. Okay, so this is going to show us that we've had folks that have worked for Hope International, which, if you're not familiar, is a microfinance nonprofit out in the Lancaster area that works with countries all over the world to empower countries that are growing their economies, and also to care for folks from a faith-based perspective. So this is going to bring up all of our alums that are currently at Hope International. So if you're a student who's graduating and you're thinking, I really want to get in with this particular organization, the thing I would do first, go here, check out and see if there's any Eastern alums that are currently working at the organization that you want to work for. That's really one of the steps that you should be taking at the same time that you're looking at the job application and all that process. Because if you can actually reach out to somebody who's currently there, you might be able to get a leg up, get some more information about the culture, find out more about what the job might entail. These are crucial pieces of information, and especially in an environment like we're in right now, if you have the ability to ask someone who's already in that organization some of these crucial questions, it could be the difference between you being the one they pick and the one that doesn't get selected, because you were the one who had some more of that inside track. And with as many alums as we have all over the country, odds are very good that a lot of organizations that you might want to work for, there's an alum there. So that's something I would pair along with the job search process, is also being thoughtful about who you know, who that you can reach out to. Now, of course, with LinkedIn, it doesn't have to specifically be within the alumni family. You, of course, can utilize networks across the board. Another great thing that you can do is utilize groups. So for me personally, I'm in a lot of different ones, like career service professionals, things of that nature. But let's say that maybe you are someone who is, graduating, let's see, we'll do something like maybe you're graduating in biology, or maybe you're someone who is going into conservation. There are groups of all different types that will categorize you with other folks who are doing the thing that you want to do. So be thoughtful about these spaces right now, because many of them are thriving as people have a little bit more time to do some of these online pieces, or because they're currently seeking for opportunities. So LinkedIn is so much more than just a place to put your digital resume. It really can be something that you use in concert with other sites, if that makes sense. All right, let's see. Some other things that I wanted to mention to you, aside from your LinkedIn, and of course, if you are building your LinkedIn profile and you're not sure about it, there actually are some really, there's a really great site that does, so LinkedIn University, they give some great LinkedIn. So this is a LinkedIn page for students, but it would apply to literally anyone. If you're trying to grow your profile, maybe it's been a minute since you've looked at it. This actually is given by LinkedIn, and it'll show you if you're a young professional or a professional, frankly, of any age, how to make your profile stand out, what it should look like, what you should be spending your time on. So I would highly recommend that if you are going to be using LinkedIn, make sure that it's up to date. If you had any idea the amount of students that I interact with and alums where I go on their page and there's zero information about opportunities that they've had, there's no bullets listed underneath each job opportunity. It kind of blows my mind, because this is actually representing you in the world. And one of the best things about LinkedIn is that it doesn't have to be a page. You can put everything that you've done, all of your opportunities on here, and get to showcase more of yourself in this space. And of course, you're going to be able to include digital pieces that may not make it into your actual resume, which today it can be an extremely great equalizer for you. So maybe you've done a really cool project. Maybe you presented at a conference and you want to share the slides there. You can do the same thing that you do on Handshake, you can also do on LinkedIn. So I like to kind of pair them together. So whatever I'm doing on one site, I can just mirror onto the other, so that I'm reaching two very different populations at the same time. So I think that's one really nice aspect between the two of those. Any questions I can answer about the using of LinkedIn as far as the networking capabilities? I really do think that's something that I'd love to see more of our students take advantage of.
No questions yet, but I've
no
already
questions.
had
We're good.
some requests to join the LinkedIn networking group for Eastern University alumni. So very happy to see that.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Sarah.
Yes, that's good. Well, I mean, seriously, I think, and if you're not sure, just in case you're not certain how to go about this process, let's say that you were, maybe you really want to work for CHOP. It's such an incredible organization in Philadelphia. Maybe that's a place where you want to be. And let's say that you see somebody who is working there, and you'd like to reach out to them, but you're not really sure what to do. There is an easy way to connect. When you hit the connect button, it'll let you put in a little bit of text. So an easy thing to do is say, I was on LinkedIn. I also graduated from Eastern University. I was really excited to see that you're currently working at CHOP. I wondered if there might be any time sometime in the future where I might be able to set up a quick Zoom conversation with you. I would love to know more about how you got in and what it's like to work there. Granted, obviously for someone working at CHOP, they are probably going through a very stressful time at the moment, so they might not respond right away. That's all right. But keep in mind that a lot of folks right now are trying, if they can, to lend a hand to anyone who's looking. So now is actually a really smart time to reach out to folks, because if they are in the position to help you, the odds are very good that they will try their best to reach out. If you ask for something small, a 10-minute Zoom conversation, or even if you could ask them a couple questions via email, make sure that you do a very simple thing. And I know this should seem obvious, but make sure that you say thanks. That is one of the most important pieces that I find more and more as we get more, as our lives become more and more hectic, we forget to say it. So make sure that right now, if you're a job seeker, anyone who's doing anything for you, if there's someone who's recommending you, if there is someone who is doing an informational interview with you, take the time, send them an email, make sure that you are saying thanks in some way, just because really everything about networking is built on maintaining these relationships. And part of that is being grateful. And then part of it is then when you're in the position to help someone, that you take that opportunity. So I think that's an important consideration, and one that doesn't always get talked about in the midst of all the other things that we're trying to do when you're in the job seeking mode. Some other pieces that you may want to just have in your toolbox. Going back to our page, we do have how-to guides. So if you're trying to figure out, like, how do I write a resume? How do I write a cover letter? How do I interview? What's an information interview? Those guides are all here, all available to you. So I think that those are often a really helpful piece. So that's another aspect of service as well. Our website has a ton of great opportunities. If you are an employer, if you click there, you can find out what our guidelines are for posting and how to get connected with us to register with Handshake, so that you can post jobs for your organization. And that way you can, again, support your alumni community through your post with Handshake. Granted, right now, we're not able to do any on-campus exhibitor tables. We do job fairs and other other types of recruiting opportunities on campus. I don't know when that will happen, but we certainly hope that in the future we'll be able to do that. Right now, we are working on some online solutions, so some virtual fairs. So look for more information about that to come, hopefully sometime in the next month or two. We found a system that we can use. So once that gets up and running and more employers are posting more regular opportunities, I think we'll be able to build that out, and we'll certainly keep you all posted on that. All right. What types of, if there's any questions people have just in general that I can answer, just if I'm more than happy to do that. I think, obviously these are extraordinary circumstances that we find ourselves in right now. I keep hearing that phrase and I don't even know, I feel like it's so, not even remotely close. And I would say for those of you who are graduating, or those of you who might find yourselves, whether you might be laid off or furloughed or what have you, there's a lot of fear and anxiety. To that end, I do feel like we are very fortunate to be in a space where we also get to incorporate faith into our conversation about the future. And granted, I'm certainly not somebody who is trying to substitute faith for to not talk about the difficulty of what you're going through, because what you are facing is a challenge that is so unknown. We don't know what this is all going to look like. But I will say that I think because we are a community of faith, that part of it is that we get to take care of each other. We get to lift each other up. We get to pray for each other. And we get to trust that the doors are going to open. And I will say that I've been praying so much for our graduates lately, just knowing like the amount of time and love that's poured into you in your time at Eastern. I hope that you can still feel that, even though that we're not able to give that to you right now personally. I will definitely not cry, I promise. But I get very emotional when I think about our students and all the amazing things they've done over the time that they were at Eastern. And I think that's, to me, one of the most beautiful spaces about being on our LinkedIn. Like when you see all these faces, just like imagine the impact that all of these people are having in the world, and the way that they are caring for others, and that they are making the world better. That's why this job is so exciting to me, because it's so cool to see students come in with all the joy of learning and then leave equipped and ready and empowered to change the world. I mean, my gosh, it is so humbling to get to be in this space.
Oh, Sarah, you are amazing, and we are definitely blessed to have you. And I think all the students that work with you feel that blessing every day. And I just want to say thank you so much for your passion, your support, your enthusiasm. This was wonderful. And unfortunately, we have no more questions that are coming in, but I feel like people will probably think it over. Thank you again. If we want to go back maybe to the screen with our, let's see, here we go. Just a few resources for everyone. So when hold on, I think I need to get my access. Here we go. Perfect. So Sarah, here's yours for the Center for Career Development. As you said, the eastern.edu/careers. Is that a / or a backslash? I feel like I always get that wrong. I feel like it's going forward, right?
Yeah, I think that is a /. We hope so.
/ right.
Otherwise Eric McCloy will correct me.
Okay. And then the email for anyone that has any questions for Sarah for the career development team, please make sure to email careers@eastern.edu. You will get this emailed to you or a link to our YouTube channel. We're going to upload this presentation to YouTube, so you can always pause it on the slide and see all these wonderful resources available. There's the Handshake website, and following the Development Center, the Center for Career Development, on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And we plan to do some cross-sharing, and it looks like here we go. We did have one question. Yeah.
I just saw that.
So for all of the, oh yeah. Do you want to answer that one?
Sure, yeah. It's for all the job sites. Is it better to have a copy of your resume along with the profile options? I would say that I'm guessing what you're asking is like, should I post my resume along with creating a profile? And I would say absolutely yes. Things to keep in mind here are making sure that if you are going to post your resume on LinkedIn, your number will be visible to anybody who clicks on it. So make sure that you are comfortable with the information that you are sharing. Handshake is a more protected space. LinkedIn tends to be a little bit less protected. So just be mindful of that. But I always recommend filling out a profile and also having a resume if that's a possibility to offer, if that's something you can do. But if you're not going to post the resume, which you do not, if you can, then obviously it's certainly a good way to do it. If you choose not to for any reason, which there are some reasons why we might not want to put all of our public information out there, then make sure your profile on LinkedIn is as complete as possible, and make sure that it matches, because I have seen quite a few people where the dates don't match, where the descriptions of the jobs don't match. That always gives me a little bit of pause. So do be thoughtful about keeping your message clear and keeping all of your information parallel from one platform to the other.
Perfect. Always a good tip. So I guess those are all our wonderful resources for you, Sarah. And then I'm just going to do, before we end, a little plug for our Office of Alumni Relations, our fancy new logo there. Any questions that you might have about events, any ideas you have, ways you'd like to get engaged again or further with Eastern, please make sure to reach out to us at alumni@eastern.edu. We also have plenty of social media. So during this time of social distancing, we are better together. So Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. There's the LinkedIn group and the YouTube channel. So like I mentioned, everyone's going to get a recording of this, and we'll also be sending out an email soon with links to all these social media as well. So stay engaged. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what help you need, because we are here for you. You are an alum for the rest of your life. So we want to take care of you. And again, I want to say, Sarah, thank you so much. That covered a lot of wonderful bases, and we'll make sure to keep continuing to post on our social media things from the Center for Career Development. And we look forward to doing something with you in the future again.
Thank you so much.
All right, and if there's no further questions, I'll say thank you to everyone for joining us on this Wednesday evening. We kept it right in that hour time slot for you. And again, feel free to email either alumni@eastern.edu or careers@eastern.edu with any follow-up questions. Thank you again, and have a wonderful evening.